Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Quoth Raven, Lewis Bright Raven for November 27th, 2020. In accordance with new copyright regulations, this episode of Quoth Raven is intended for ages 16 and up. While some of the content we will feature is kid-friendly, the context of the episode is to address adults and inform them of said content for them to research as consumers in service of their youth. In other words, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, librarians, etc. There is the possibility of adult language present on the episode as well, rated TV 16 and up. Hello, everyone. It's your host, Lewis Bright Raven. It's going to be kind of a short week in a way because of the holiday, and I had a lot of stuff going on this week. And, of course, our mascot sort of decided to show up here. That's why I'm kind of bent over. Cat decided to show up. Hello, John. Okay. You got a new letter there. I don't remember you having a J there before. Okay. Interesting. New account or just added a different thing maybe. Okay. Not a whole lot of questions so far this week or anything like that, so we're just going to go straight into reviews. Some I'm going to have some artwork for, some I'm just going to have to show you the books. Let's start with backtrack number 8. It's probably just doing that with Google or something like that. Who knows? Anyway, Backtrack is issue number 8 for $3.99. Publisher Oni Press. The writers Brian Jones, artist Jake Elphick, with colorist Doug Garbarg. Genre science fiction. It was released November 4th, 2020. So it's been out a couple weeks. Been a little bit behind. What it's about, for those of you who don't remember, this is kind of like this race across different dimensions and times with a bunch of different people trying to win for different individual reasons. So the drivers weigh anchor in what is known as the wickedest city in the world, 17th century Port Royal, Jamaica, right at the height of plundering, pillaging, and pirates. Quellex, who runs the race, has another twist in store for the drivers. Keeping on theme, he has devised a sprawling treasure hunt, but the roads of the city deem themselves too narrow for cars, so the drivers must ditch their vehicles and travel on foot through the cobblestone streets filled with privateers, buccaneers, and scallywags. Weird issue for all kinds of reasons. It is recommended for ages 16 up. I give it a 3 out of 5. Now, my main issue here with this particular book, and it probably shouldn't be an issue, but it is for me for some reason. I don't know why. But when you go to what is historically known as the most wicked and dangerous city on earth in Port Royal, Jamaica, during the height of piracy, and you have modern day clothes on, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. And they're not exactly a trusting bunch there, I would think, So it's kind of a weird challenge for the competitors. And it's interesting, but I'm not sure that the creators really thought out everything that they should in terms of how things would play out if it was actually happening. But the truth is I probably should just shrug my shoulders and just go with it because, after all, why is this any different than any other time they've already visited in the storyline where their cars were kind of like out of sync and people seeing them would freak out and stuff. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I've been 8 issues into the story already and I'm just raising my expectations or I'm getting tired of the storyline or whatever it is. I don't know. But it is an okay issue. It's basically an average modern comic. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look at the artwork. I don't have it on the graphics today. One of their characters was injured, and they're trying to figure out what to do for him. By this time, they've split up, and two of the leads are like trying to decide what they're going to do and where they're finding what parts they have to find. And she's not trusting him. And then they come across, as you can see, someone hanging. And they find a whole body of them, a whole group of them hanging from the guillotines. So, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And they've already run into some pirates at this point. They go into a bar, and they're recognized, of course, because, well, you kind of stand out when you're not dressed in the modern day clothing attire. Something I would have done was I would have knocked out some people and stole their clothes. So I wouldn't be so conspicuous in this, just, and that would make sense, but who am I? They didn't do that. So they're in the bar, and they've already ran into some pirates, and they've seen their cars, and they know that they're kind of weirdos anyway. So now they're going to get in a bar fight at the end of the episode, and they basically are way outnumbered and outclassed, with a bunch of pirates with swords and firearms of the era. But finally, a female pirate decides to join them and protect them. So that's where they kind of leave off the main group in the bar. And then there's two others shortly after that. The rich girl and her driver get in an argument, and he pushes her, and she trips and falls and hits her head on the back of her head, rather, on a wooden post from because they're on the edge of a pier, and she falls in the water, and he has to dive after her. And that's how they leave it for the issue. Overall, 3 out of 5. Not that great a book, but not bad either. Let's go ahead and go on to our next book. Our next book is Kaiju Score, and it's by Aftershock Comics. It's $4.99. It's first issue. The writer is James Patrick. The colors are art and colors are by Rem Brew. I don't know if that's a shortened version of his name or what, but that's what they got, Rem Brew. And the letterer is Dave Sharp. The genre is crime action, and it was released this week, November 25th, 2020. And what it's about, as the name might suggest, the Kaiju Score takes place in a world similar to ours, albeit with its one caveat that giant monsters are a normalized part of life. Once a kaiju makes landfall, the government pulls all of its resources in controlling it as the areas in its path are evacuated. And they try to get everybody out of threat and danger. And this is something that career criminal Marco seeks to use to his advantage. Marco recruits a ragtag group of fellow criminals to team up on what could be one of the most profitable art heists ever, if they can pull it off in the middle of a monster attack. Recommended for ages 16 up. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Let's take my thoughts on this. Now, from the start, the book had a cinematic feel to it. Not surprising. The series was already optioned for film months ago, even before the book was ever released. Whether that has something to do with it, or whether it's kind of a weird juxtaposition, because I know so many creators these days are like trying to do both Hollywood and comics, or using comics to get to Hollywood, that might be a turnoff for some. But most of it, I think, is just it's resting on the laurels of the heist genre and the kaiju movie genres, particularly the style of films that you might see of the likes of Quentin Tarantino and Edgar Wright, and I can't think of the director. I'd have to look it up, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, the series roster of characters. The leader, Marco, he's okay. He's kind of like I don't know, kind of a cross between Wolverine, Logan type character, and Spike Spiegel in a way from Cowboy Bebop. Just he's weary, and he's definitely a veteran criminal, but he's kind of got this sort of suave, smart aleck persona as well. A glamorous safecracker character named Gina, who's our female character in the team. Bodyguard type guy, muscle type guy named Pearson. And then I got another veteran named Palmiero, who's kind of like, I don't know, maybe the guy that's going to screw everything up. We don't know yet. Each of the characters receive an introduction, but it's really not enough to really get to know them yet. There's too much world building to be worrying about building up the histories of these characters just yet. So the characters feel like maybe they're a little bit formulaic and predictable as a result, and that kind of knocks it a little bit. But there is a sense that each character will be more than what you have seen in the comic. There's layers to them we haven't seen yet, and that they're going to be seen. So hopefully that will happen as the series progresses. Luckily, when we do get into the familiar tropes of these characters, the plot and the monsters and the world building of the world that is going on is unique enough that it makes it still seem a little. It's somewhat unique anyway, or at least maybe not unique, but at least different enough that the series can continue long after this particular arc finishes. If the characters are well done and the creators can keep the audience engaged for all 4 issues or 6 issues this is going to run. But as strong as the work is, and it is strong, it's still a very niche comic. You pretty much have to be a fan of either kaiju stuff or heist movies or heist stories or both, or really I don't think the book's going to work for you. So, for me it works. I gave it 4 because I'm interested in the kaiju and I'm interested in the heist type stuff to enough of a degree that it interests me. But if that's not your thing, this book isn't for you. Let's take a look at the art, though. They jump out of the plane and go into the water, and they're all looking for different treasures and stuff. The kaiju are around, and he's basically telling the guy who's hiring them to do this heist what the plan is, while the cops are doing what they're going to do, while they protect the citizens. And then we have an example of one of the kaiju that's actually come to landfall. And the artwork by Brembrew is interesting. I've seen, we've seen better work, I guess you could say, in a way. But again, it's personal taste. Not everybody's going to be James Stokoe or hyper, detailed artist type thing for the kaiju, and yet this is still relatively recognizable, and it works for what it's supposed to be. One thing I did find really interesting about the book, though, was that a number of pages in the back of the book like this. There's like 6 of them, 6 or 8 pages in the back of the book that have these little funny little aspects to their world building. And, they talk about, fact versus myth kaiju eat people or don't eat people, and, and stuff like that. It's funny reading that. You can tell that they care enough about the character and the concept of what they're doing to try and give you some sense of what it's like to be in that world, and make you feel like you're in that world with these. And that's a nice element to the book that I thought was amusing and entertaining as well. Yeah, and statistically of what happens to your psychological trauma of shock of a kaiju attack, and what the symptoms are if afterwards and stuff. Just it's funny. Let's see what else we got this week. We have Origins #1, $3.99. The publisher is Boom Studios. Written by Clay McLeod Chapman. The illustrator is Jacob Rebelka, with colorist Patricio Del Peque. I hope I pronounced that right. The genre is post-apocalyptic science fiction, and it was released on November 4th. And what it's about is 1,000 years after humans are killed off by artificial intelligence, one man is brought back to life, David Adams, who created the very technology that destroyed his people. Now, with the help of the android Chloe, who revived him, David will try to restore humanity and stop the artificial, or AI, overlords he created. David embarks on the greatest battle of his life, seeking redemption, while also discovering if humanity can or should have any kind of future. Recommended for ages 16 and up. I give it 3.5 stars. My thoughts on this book. It feels like the pacing is a little bit off for a single issue. It feels like it was written written as a trade, more or less, and it's just being broken down into the individual issues, which it affects the pacing, and I'm not really sure if I'd like that. There's two narratives that are presented as the young David Adams is having his history told to him by the android Chloe, and at the same time we're avoiding the AI network that's after the both of them, and how they explain how he had basically had to be reborn and rebuilt because they'd already killed him. It's well drawn and it's reasonably well written, but the reality is there's just not enough story in the issue. There's too much world building info dump instead of an actual story in the first issue, in my opinion. And that's why I knocked it down to 3.5 stars. And I probably would have knocked it down to 3 if I was just going by the story, but I'm going to give the art team the extra 0.5 star because it is very well done, visually speaking. And here is the book. And as you can see, there is some very nice artwork here being done. Nice designs, and post-apocalyptic, all with the AIs, with humanity gone. They watched some history television, watched History Network and or History Channel, and saw that how Earth might look afterwards. During the androids wandering around through the Natural Museum of History, or one of these other museums that has stuff around, paintings of cavemen, and still have the statues of the dinos, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then they move forward to the female android and the more adult level of David that's trying to figure out things. And it has a nice, I guess you could say, a science fantasy flair to it, because they look kind of medieval a little bit in some of their costumes, but you can also see the high tech stuff, like she's got the gas mask on in front of her hip on her belt there in the panel and stuff like that. it's an interesting book. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But we have to move along to the next one for the day. Our next book is Perhaponauts First Blood #1 for $4.99. Publisher is Scout Comics through their Black Caravan imprint. The writer is Todd DeZago, artist is Craig Rousseau, with colors by Enrico Renzi. The genre is supernatural action adventure, and it was released this week, November 25th. And what it's about. This issue features a number of short stories in one issue. I was a little bit uncertain as I read this whether this was going to be continued as a series of singles or just go straight to the trade collection to be released in February 2021. When I wrote this, I thought it was the latter. Then I checked my previews catalog again, and it says collects issues 1 through 4. So I guess there's going to be 4 issues. But either way, if you missed this issue, you can order the trade. It's a nice little reintroduction to the characters of the team because the characters have been sort of out of print in the mainstream comic scene for a while. They've been available in crowdfunding, but not in comic shops that much for a while now. The series used to come out originally from Dark Horse and then later from Image, but it's never really been supported that much by retailers and fans. It's a very undervalued title with retailers. My attitude is when your customers complain about how sucky the X-books are, this is the book you turn them on to. That's just my feeling on it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, recommended for ages 13 and up. Didn't have time to scan that book either this week. So let's go through it. There are 3 stories in this issue. The 3-page Molly, which is a 3-page story, the Kelly Goblins, and the First Pie story. And then they have a couple of biographical rundowns, kind of like Marvel Universe rundowns in the back of the book as well. And Molly is basically giving you a rundown, and she's a ghost, and she's giving you a rundown of all the different characters that are members of the Perhaponauts in those 3 issues and what their agenda and what they're about. And then they tell an adventure called the Kelly Goblins, which is some of the characters. Big, who's a Bigfoot. Mr. E, which is the guy in the black shirt and the sunglasses. Aricia, which is the black female. The little guy there, Choopy, the Chupacabra. And of course, you see Molly again in between, sitting next to Choopy. So they're going on just a little adventure with that and figuring out what's going on with that. And then they have the First Pie story. It's pretty good stuff. I mean, I've always been, I can't say I've always been a fan of Perhaponauts. John was actually the one that introduced me to Perhaponauts. So, if you like Hellboy or you got bored of Hellboy because there's just too many books in the Hellboy universe, but you still kind of like that stuff, this is a more modernized era of Hellboy, I guess you could say, because Hellboy, even though it's modern, it goes back to the 40s with the Nazis and all that stuff. And BPRD and all the other titles they've gotten spin-offs of with the Magnolaverse has gotten a bit much for you, or you're sick of X-Men and you want something that's kind of like a fun adventure book with a superhero team. This is probably your best bet. Okay. Next book for the day or this week is Resident Alien. Your ride's here, #1 for $3.99. John says, I'm going to try to get the Perhaponauts book tomorrow. I didn't go anywhere today. Well, that's understandable. So, we'll see how it goes. I hope you find it. Anyway, the publisher for Resident Alien is Dark Horse. Writers Peter Hogan with artist Steve Parkhouse. The genre is science fiction, and it was released on November 11th, 2020. And what it's about, Dr. Harry, I don't remember what, he's got a longer name. I think it's Van Zegel or something like that. But Dr. Harry, an alien who has been living on Earth after his spaceship crashed many years ago, is serving as a country doctor. He returns home to his country town after a stint in New York City, where he has learned that there are probably others like him stranded on Earth. It has changed his perspective on a great number of things. He needs to figure out what to do with Honey, who is the only resident in Patience, Oregon, or wherever they're at, and who can see him in his true alien form, as well as deal with his feelings towards Asta, his best friend. Harry's been stranded in a small town, pretending to be a human doctor for so long that loneliness is bound to creep in. Recommended for ages 15 and up, and it's a 4 out of 5-star book. Now, you may have heard of Resident Alien through Sci-Fi. It's recently been picked up. It's going to come out. The series on television will be coming out in January. This is the last story arc of the Resident Alien series in comics. This is the first chapter of that. So I don't know if you want to jump into the last storyline of the book, but the other 4 or 5 have been collected in trades by Dark Horse, so you can find the Resident Alien storylines before the show airs if you want. Now, as such, with this particular story, you kind of have to have been following the events of the previous storylines to know what's really going on here. There's a lot of minor subplots that are being presented as things that need to get wrapped up and resolved before whatever happens. And it should be interesting to see how the creators finish the overall story, but obviously it's not a good entry point book for new readers at all. This is another book that's always been criminally overlooked by retailers, has not been promoted like it should have been. Maybe that'll change once the TV show comes out. If the TV show is successful, I don't know. But we'll see, I guess. A lot of people think that because it was picked up by Sci-Fi, that this is a series that was always intended to be a Hollywood book, so to speak. We're going to make this book and pitch it to Hollywood. And that just wasn't the case. A lot of people say, well, it only comes out in little mini-series. It doesn't come out as a regular book. Why doesn't it? That's because the artist, Steve Parkhouse, who does all the work, all the line art, all the coloring, all the lettering, just doesn't work fast enough to hit a regular monthly schedule. So it really doesn't have anything to do with, them trying to go to Hollywood. It's Hollywood found them. Now, whether or not because it came out as a series of miniseries, or because some people have looked at it and said, well, I'll wait until the TV show comes out and see if I like it. Whether that's hurt the book sales or not, I don't know. I can't say. But hopefully, I would say now is the time to start looking for those trades if you're interested in the series at all. Let's take a look at some of the artwork. Beginning of the episode, they're checking out the top of a roof of a building, because in the page before this, there was a guy standing outside talking to a female, and he got shot in the back of the calf muscle with a BB rifle from a distance. So, now, how far of a distance it was, I have no idea. But anyway, it was bad enough that the guy had to get surgery to get the BBs out. So, okay. And so the police are kind of like, find this person, because this is not cool, type thing. Because, what if they're going to shoot someone with a BB gun now, what happens if they get a real firearm? Are they going to, become one of these crazed gunman types, or whatever? We got to find this guy type thing. That's their logic. And that makes sense. And this is Harry, the purple alien. And he doesn't look like this to most people. He has a mental field that everybody else sees him as a normal human being. There's only like maybe two or three people, one kid and one other person who can see him as he truly is. So that's kind of an interesting aspect to it. Um, so he's talking with the mayor of this little small town about his experience in New York. Um, and it's basically kind of having this sort of a thing going on where he's kind of dropping hints that he's thinking about maybe leaving the town, and maybe he doesn't know he's thinking about maybe going home to his home planet, type thing. But that might be what we're going to. We don't know what's going to happen at this point. And of course, he asked him about, well, what about Asta? And the funny thing about him and Asta is he has always seen Asta as a friend, and everybody else is like, no, there's more there. You're just being a fool and not looking at it. And I think it's because he just assumes that, well, I'm an alien, she's human, we're not compatible, type thing. But, well, maybe we'll see what goes on. And then this is Asta and her father in a fever dream. Not a fever dream, but anyway, a dream for dream walking. That's what I was trying to think of. And because her father's Native American, she's Native American, her father's Native American, and they're talking about the future, and he's talking about, you may have to make some decisions yourself about your relationship with Harry and stuff, because he might be leaving and stuff like that. And the artwork is very nice and clean. And I just like the book, and I like the Native American aspects of the storyline as well. So I do recommend the series if it's something that potentially interests you. Our next book is Usagi Yojimbo, Wanderer's Road, #1, and for $3.99. And this publisher is IDW Publishing, written and illustrated by Stan Sakai, with a cover by Peach Momoko. And the color inside is by Rhonda Pattison. I think I mentioned this on my Facebook page, that the regular colorist for Usagi that had been around for decades has retired, and Rhonda's taken over as the full-time colorist for the foreseeable future. Genre is anthropomorphic martial arts adventure. It was released, it's actually released November 25th, not November 27th. And this is a miniseries of Usagi's wanderings as a Ronin rabbit. In this issue, he rescues a lizard beast from some villagers who want to kill it. And one of the shopkeepers that wants to kill the lizard beast tries to exact vengeance on Usagi for his act of kindness. The lizard beast becomes a traveling companion for Usagi at the end of the story. As always, this is one of the best comics produced, period. And it's the highest possible recommendation. It's recommended for ages 10 and up, rating 5 out of 5. And this is some of the artwork from that series. The guy with the hatchet, with the bloody hatchet, the butcher type guy, has chased that lizard all the way up this tower, and all the other people are like, screaming at it and being mean to it. I love the little Ninja Turtle Raphael in the bottom there. I just think that's a cute reference there, nod to the turtles. And just really nice artwork overall, but that's Stan Sakai for you. Basically, this butcher type guy is really mad at the lizard because the lizard stole some meat or something out of his shop and wants to kill him over it. And Usagi's like, you don't need to do that. Come on, he's just hungry. Just leave him alone, And they've, like I said, they got stuck up in the watchtower, and now they're taking bets to see how long he stays up there before the wind will sweep him off the tower. And again, he says he's going to go rescue it, and the butcher is like, no. And so he goes to attack Usagi, and Usagi defends himself, naturally, of course. And he goes to chase the guy up and then breaks, the steps, which, that's, real brilliant move, isn't it? And as the story progresses, the wind gets strong enough that the guy, the butcher, gets so mad he steals the woodcutter's axe and cuts down the watchtower. And of course, what happens? The watchtower collapses and falls right through his shop and destroys the shop, just as he deserves. And so it was like an interesting, fun story that way, in that regard. But that is our reviews, I believe, for the week. So let's go ahead and go into our next theme, which is our crowdfunding reviews, or overlooked. Look at these new things. I haven't actually looked at these, so I don't really know what we're going to get. You're going to get my reaction right along with them, basically. So let's see what we get. Let's look at Dominion: Fall of the House of Saul. It's Star Wars meets Narnia in a space opera inspired by the story of King Saul in the Bible. It has a $500 flexible goal. It's already been funded for $814. It's apparently this has already been released through Comixology. I guess this is a collection of putting this out in the actual book version. Yes, that's what it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
They are defeated. I have carried out the commands of the Almighty.
Enough! Is tribute better than obedience? Because you have rejected his command. He has rejected you!
Wait!
The Almighty has torn the dominion from you today.
Samuel!
And has given it to one who is better than you. A man after his own heart.
Samuel!
We cannot stand by while our people are under attack.
I will not be dictated to by a child.
I could save the kingdom, Mother. Would you have me do nothing?
Do not stir up your father's rage. You will tear this family apart.
The Philistines are coming.
Open your eyes, Jonathan. Our father is not the just king you wish him to be.
You have duties to this family, to your people.
I saw a young warrior.
Who did you see?
The spirit of the Almighty was with him.
I will not lose my throne. Dominion is mine. I am king. I am Saul.
And that comes from Terminus Media out of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It looks quite interesting. I like the crow character. It's kind of a priest. Crow or raven. Amid a time of trouble, families in crisis, a king who has lost the favor of his deity and his people, a son seeking his father's approval, a daughter longing for a purpose beyond being a pampered princess, and a queen struggling behind the scenes to keep the kingdom together. Again, this is already available on Comixology, so you can read it on uh, on that already. Um, that should be interesting. Uh, they got co-written by Dr. Baron Bell and Daniel Hancock, with I guess Bell does the artwork as well. Inks and colors by Chris Hunt and Hunter Riggs. Mm-hmm. They want to do a lot of things with this, obviously. Um, they want to do an audio book, an animated series, study guides, toys, video games, etc. Quite interesting. It's basically they want to do a Star Wars version of the Old Testament, and that's okay, looks interesting. You know, so you can buy a physical copy as well as a ebook version of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 for $10 each. Get some stickers. Mm-hmm. I think the art's very nice. Mm-hmm. Quite a bit of variety of stuff available. And this is the address on there to go. I haven't fully made up my mind if I'm going to get something like this or not. I'm very interested in it, but I just don't know. I spent a lot of money this year on books, and my income has not been strong for, I think people know obvious reasons for COVID and everything. That we're all kind of hurting financially this year, but lots of different stuff going on here, and I'm kind of interested here. I'm not exactly sure what a collector's bundle is, but I guess you get a bunch of stuff with it, like the first two books, the stickers, some other stuff, and a T-shirt. That's not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. I'd have to find out. This is some of the stuff for Chapter 2 art as well. So yeah, this is a possibility. I think I will go ahead and add this one to my Indiegogos, and we'll check another book. What do you think, John? Does that interest you at all? I haven't heard back from him, John, yet, so hopefully I haven't bored him to death. It doesn't. Don't spend the money right now. It doesn't interest you. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. But we got about a month left, so it's 26 days. So it's right before Christmas is when their campaign ends. So, like I said, we mentioned saving it, and we'll see. And I'll probably come back to this and maybe promote it a little bit more in the future. Maybe I'll even see if I can get them to come on the show before now and the end of their campaign. Let's go ahead and go and look at our next book. Yeah, how close do they stick to the biblical story metaphorically or, whatever. But yeah, that would be interesting. Let's go ahead and see what else they've got. You have Sovereign Wolf, Clan Destiny. Enter a secret world where heroic shapeshifters battle evil hybrids for the fate of humanity. It's got 24 days left. It's got over $6,200, almost $6,300 with 112 backers. They had a $500 flexible goal, so hopefully they're going to have their money to do what they need to do. Let's go ahead and see what they say it is. Okay. Their video didn't really impress me that much. It was a little bit too. I couldn't even read the names of the creators that well. The coloring and the way that things were flashing and stuff just wasn't really that well done, in my opinion. But let's see what they're offering. It's a 100-page story, 50-page main story by Lucas Meyer and Giuliano Paratelli. Okay. And now that we see some of this artwork statically instead of this weird graphics and stuff, it looks interesting. I would say that it's definitely a mature readers type book. We're seeing a lot of blood and gore here. It's not bad. And then there's an 18-page prequel story by Gabrielle Caetano with Michael Woods. And that's not bad either for what it is. That feels a little bit too much like they're fighting. Is it just me, or does this look like Star Wars? Like the werewolves or the Jedi and the Geonosians. They're fighting the Geonosians. I don't know. And then there's another 8-page story with some wrestlers, I guess. Interesting. Am I the only one who likes the pencil art better than the color art? And all that color, just you lose all the detail in the pencils. I don't know. That's a bummer. I don't know. Oh well. I'd rather have a black and white book like that myself, but that's me. I'm weird. Give you a little bit of character files. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Variant covers with some original artwork, I guess, is interesting, but what are the price points for their stuff here? Yeah, I don't need three versions of the same story. So you can buy it for $25 for each one of the variant covers. Okay. 130 for all of the stuff that they offer, period. I don't know. I'm not really sold on this one. Mighty Geek Studios, hello. He says black and white books are going to make a comeback thanks to the cost of printing. I I don't really think it matters as far as that. There's always been an audience for black and white comics. It's just that comic book retailers tended not to care and not carry and market it to that audience more than anything else. But there's always been an audience for black and white comics. Let's see what else we got. We have quite a few Indiegogo stuff here. Hammerella, Thunder Smoke, which I thought was a kind of interesting storyline. This is 64 pages comic for all ages from the extended universe of Gods and Gears from Ryan Wynn. It's already been funded. The fund was 12,000 or just over the 12,000 mark, almost over 12,500 here. 300 backers. It's got 2 days left in the campaign. Let's see what they have to say.
48 pages of action for readers of all ages. Hammerella Thundersmoke tells the story of Hammerella, descendant of gods and witches, stranded alone on a distant world since infancy. In order to survive, she must be as deadly as the beasts that hunt her. When she finally escapes, she finds herself in the midst of a galactic war. Will she live long enough to find her true home? Back the book to find out, and help us extend the Gods and Gears universe.
Yeah. They added 16 pages. It was originally 48. Now it's 64. Okay. For $50, you get the Hammerella book plus Gods and Gears 1 through 4, plus some extra swag, some stickers, I guess, and a print. Okay, it's not bad price for all that. Sketch card commission, $15 for a sketch card isn't a bad price if you want to get a sketch card from the artist Ryan Wynn. The book itself is $20. That's about price for crowdfunded books these days. It looks like it's going to be a hardcover, so, or maybe it'll be a soft cover. Hard to tell with that picture. A custom wood comics display for $30. That's not bad. I don't know. Interesting. The clothes for Gods and Gears. Okay, I would rather they'd done a Hammerella shirt than a Gods and Gears shirt myself. I don't know. What he ought to go do is see if he can get Walt Simonson to do a Hammerella cover for him or a Hammerella print for him, but he's only got 2 days left. You can actually see a little bit of the Walt Simonson in this cover a little bit, the way that Walt draws in that, but interesting. But quite a few. Oh, they do have a Hammerella shirt. That's just got kind of like a baseball shirt with Hammerella across. All right. I still think they should put the Hammerella design on the shirt, but that's my opinion. Ah, the Gods and Gears is from Alterna. Okay. I knew I'd heard of it. I just couldn't remember. Okay, interesting. And you don't have to have read Gods and Gears to enjoy the Hammerella story. It is something that is sent to be on its own, so that's cool. I don't know. There's quite a bit of stuff available, but at the same time, I'm kind of, I don't know. I have to think about that one. I'm going to go ahead and save it in my Indiegogos, but I'm not. I'm not completely sold yet. I got a day to think about it. Our next book is Thomas Moria, Wizard for Hire. There's 3 days left on this one. And it has 6,500 fixed goal, and it's over 14,000, so it's going to be fulfilled for its backers. This is created by Selena Hernandez, apparently. Let's see what it's about. Video really doesn't give us enough. It's a 48-page full color book, stapled. Okay, so it's not prestige format. Interesting. He's trying to save his wife, but she was, 2 years she's been in hell already. I mean, she's probably already lost her soul by that point. I hate to say, but you know, I don't know. It's interesting. Artwork is interesting. I like the artwork. The concept. I mean, it's kind of a. I don't know. Okay, the creator, writer, artist is Stephanie Renee. Co-writer is Red Smith. Colorist is Stefani Renee. Editor is Stefani Renee. Okay. Um, I don't know if it's Stephanie or Stefani. It's hard to tell with Brazilians how it's could be male or female. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, um, started out as a colorist working on Ant. Okay, interesting. So they've been around for quite a while because Ant's, like I say, 2005 they were best colors for Harvey Award. That's a long time ago. So they've been around a while. Um, I don't know. This is interesting. But it also kind of feels like, what if Doctor Strange's wife Clea, or not wife, but I guess girlfriend. I don't think they ever married, but what if Clea had been kidnapped and he had to go to it? That's what this feels like a little bit. So I'm not sure. You know, it's interesting though. We'll go ahead and put a bookmark on it. Our next book is called Nocturnal. We've got 27 days left. It hasn't really even gotten started. I don't know how long this has been up. Food for vampires. Gil is unwittingly thrown into a shadowed world of vampires and miscreants. The main thing I was interested in, possibly as the artist, is Gilbert Monsanto, who is a Philippine artist who I happen to like. So maybe, we'll see what he's got. Okay, let's see what we got here. The regular comic is $15. You get a couple of other things, not a PDF version and a Secrets of Coloring, which I guess is maybe another PDF or something. Let's do a little bit more tight work on it. So Kemp is writing and coloring this, and Monsanto is doing the line art. And I don't know if Gilbert's. It's hard for me to tell if this has been digitally inked and then colored, or colored just straight over the pencils. It could be either or. Because Gilbert's art, I've always felt like he needs a strong inker. So I don't know yet. Apparently he's inking himself, so okay. and that is the alternate cover by Andrew Mangum. It's interesting. The coloring. It's like a 2-hour course on computer coloring. Interesting. Okay. I don't know if he's really one of the best colorists in the industry, but okay. I don't know. Interesting. And what days it got? 3 backers only from 27 days. I'll have to talk to Gilbert and see what's what on that one. I'll bookmark it, but I don't know. I'm not completely sold on that one. Next book is Slaughter Squad Volume 1. A team of escaped livestock with nothing to lose is going to take over the state of Texas. Apparently, this has already been backed. I guess it's an in-demand book, so you can order it. Let's go ahead and see what's what.
You sure you want to go back in there? You're dead meat.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, you gotta have a dark humor in this one a little bit. Let me guess. Her name is Bambi. The one with the little flower in her hair. Oh, geez, this is funny to look at anyway. Oh man. The artwork is hilarious. Oh. I don't know. It's interesting, but I think it's funny as hell. But I'm going to have to pass on this one. I think. Let me take a quick look. What are the prices for this? A $20 for a PDF? No, I don't think so. A signed comic is $25. Wow, a print comic is $25 plus shipping, and the digital is $20. Oof. This is supposed to be shipping right now, so I don't know. Nah. I think I could pass on this one. That is funny though. What else we got? Oh, well, we know about this one already. At least we should. Um, I've reviewed the first one already, and it is Titan Mouse 2 How the Mighty Have Fallen. As you can see, it's already double its goal. It's over $11,000 in backing so far. There's 21 days left. There is a Black Friday special. I already have backed this series. You can get patches. That's the first patch that came with the first book, actually, if you got the first book. They got holographic stickers this time. You can get the digital copy. You can get the regular hardcover for 25, which is what I'm getting. You can get the regular hardcover volume 1 as well for 25. You can get a mouse, Titan mouse mug. You got trading cards, uh, all kinds of good stuff. Definitely gonna. I've already, like I said, I've already backed this one, so we already know I'm getting this one. So he's selling original pages of the story, all kinds of cool stuff here. And I don't know for sure. I really probably shouldn't say this yet, but um, I might actually have artwork appearing in that. I don't know yet. I've done pencils for a piece, and I've sent it to the creator, Gary Shipman. He's supposed to ink it. I don't know exactly what the status of that is yet, so that's up to him to decide what he's going to do with it. Okay, but if I am involved in that product in any way, I'll let you guys know in the future. Our last review for the day is Wirehead. And this is kind of a horror comic type thing in the vein of Jason, Friday the 13th, or um, slasher type stuff. Let's see what they say.
Something is lurking in the Pocono Mountains, and it's coming for you. No one knows where it came from, or who it will get next. Wirehead. This October comes a new tale in fantasy terror. Wirehead. Pre-order now on Indiegogo.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. This is the same people who did Blood Realm, I guess, for alternate comics. A lot of different stuff available, digital stuff with sketch card commissions. The graphic novel is $20. Yeah, this is all by people who worked with Alterna. Here we go again. This is an actual black and white 80-page graphic novel. So if you like retro science fiction, or you like the old school stuff for the 80s slasher type movies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, that sort of thing, this should be up your alley. You can also get the Blood Realm story, volume 1 through 3. That was done through Alterna, signed from them. They got T-shirts. A lot of cool stuff. Keep looking here. They got a lot of different stuff, different designs. I mean, Blood Realm T-shirt, a Wirehead T-shirt. Yeah, not bad at all, really. I like their retailer incentive, $50 for 5 copies. That's basically 10 copies each. You're selling them for $19.99. The retailer's going to get their share of profit on it. That's not a bad deal at all. That's a little excessive. Scrunch, not splurk. I don't know. I think the bones would crack and make a crunchy sound more than I don't know. That's a heck of an image, though. Yeah, we'll go ahead and already got this one backed. Not backed, but marked in my bookmarked in my feed. So I'll come back to this one and we'll review it and see what I think of it. We'll probably come back and revisit it, maybe talk to the creators on that one, because it's got plenty of days left before it comes to an end. And that'll close our crowdfunding for the night. And so I want to thank everyone for watching this week. Tomorrow, Saturday, I'll probably do some sort of live draw. I don't know exactly what time yet, but next week, this is what we're going to be reviewing. We're We're going to be reviewing Distant Worlds 1 through 4 from Cinebook, UK. The Furnace by Prentice Rollins, which is an original graphic novel. Baboon by Powell. That's an original graphic novel. It's actually a silent graphic novel. Planet Paradise by Jesse Lonergan, pardon me. That's from Image. That's an original graphic novel. Frank Thorne's Ribbit. That is a collection from Hermes Press. Super Robot Mayhem. Now I can't remember the name of the publisher. My bad. But that's by Jeremy Biggs, Javier Borden, and I can't think of the first gentleman's name for Mersek. But this was the book I was waiting on from England for like a month. It finally arrived this week. And we're also going to go through previews next week. I just got previews on Wednesday, and I've already filled out my orders. But, well, I didn't have time to really do a full preview setup for this week. So we'll talk about previews next week and review what's coming out in February, because that's when February releases are for this catalog. And that'll be next week. So if you want to reach me, best way to do it is on Facebook at Lewis.Brightrave, on Twitter at LewisBrightRave, RAV2, DeviantArt at deviantart.com/BrightRaven, Quoth the Raven, Lewis Brightraven on YouTube, Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com for Gmail address, or LewisBrightRaven at yahoo.com if you can't reach me at the Gmail address. The regular podcast airs normally on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess that will cover it next week, so we'll see you guys next week.